First thing I do is I thank the Lord for waking me up and all that. And the next thing I do, I reach for my harmonica and put it in my pocket. This harmonica has really saved me all my life. So I thank the Lord for that, and thank you all for wanting to know about it.
Larry Cox spent his early years as a young sharecropper with his family. That hard work set the stage for him to take his life in a new direction. A part-time job in a pool hall at the age of 14 helped him develop a new side hustle. In this podcast, he explains how a move to Chicago created new opportunities, and the south side of Chicago helped him develop his hobby of playing the harmonica. As part of the Chicago blues scene, he rubbed shoulders with greats including Muddy Waters and Lewis and Dave Myers, and played at the famed Teresa's Lounge and the Checkerboard Lounge. Today, Larry Cox has traded the Windy City for Music City. We're delighted to share his amazing story to underscore the benefits of perseverance and how life skills, from swimming to scouting and playing a harp, have given him purpose.
We're glad you joined us to hear these inspiring stories from older adults, people who have so much experience and words of wisdom to share, but are sometimes overlooked in society today. I'm Sally Hussey, the CEO of 50 Forward, a Nashville-based nonprofit. Our mission is to support, champion, and enhance the lives of those 50 and older.
And I'm Susan Sizemore, your guide through these beautiful conversations with those who are living life to the fullest and who know how to squeeze the day in their second chapter of life. Now, in my second chapter and encore career, I'm following my passion for sharing the stories of older adults with you and with the world. If you like what you hear, please rate and follow Squeeze the Day on your favorite podcast platform. Today's Squeeze the Day is brought to you by the All of Us Research Program from the National Institutes of Health. Learn how you can help change the future of health by participating in the program. Visit www.joinallofus.org to learn more. So, Larry, I wanted to start today by talking a little bit about what brought you from the Windy City to Music City.
Well, I had health problem, and I was in the Windy City alone. My son here in Nashville, Tennessee, been here ever since I brought him down in 1978 to Tennessee State. He'd been here ever since. So I was talking to my brother one morning, and I went out on him because I have health problem. I'm a diabetic, and my sugar went low on me, and he didn't like the way I was sounding, and he called my son down here in Nashville and told him he better get up in the Windy City and see about me. So he came up, and sure enough, I had went out unconscious and everything, and they put me in the hospital. And the next time I came to my right mind, I was in a nursing home way on the other side of Chicago. But after I came to my right mind and everything and started thinking, coming back to reality, I asked them to speak with the doctor, and the doctor came to see me and said they had released me into a nursing home. And the doctor came to talk to me, and I asked him, why was I in a nursing home? I thought I was in the hospital. And he said, you were in the hospital, but they released you. I said, well, I need to call my son. So I came back to my reality check, and I called my son, told him, hey, man, they got me in a nursing home up here in Chicago. And he came up and got me. And I've been down here in Nashville with him and his family, my daughter-in-law and all, ever since. So they watching over me. So that's what brought me down here.
You know, it's really nice to have somebody who can help guide things when needed. And in so many ways, I think we take our health for granted until something happens. And being a diabetic, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because diabetes often comes as we age, and there's a lot of care that you now have to put into your life.
Well, I'm type 2. I'm not on the insulin, but I do have pills I take. But I have to really monitor what I eat, keep my sugar level down. I don't drink a lot of stuff that's got sugar in it. In fact, everything I drink is sugar-free. So then I have certain foods I eat, and I'm not eating a whole lot like I used to, just picking out and just eating and everything. I don't eat a lot of pork. and nothing like that. So I'm doing pretty good at the present, I think. So I had two hip operations. I had one about, oh, I don't know exact date, but I had one since I've been down here with my son to replace the one that I had years ago, because it had deteriorated and I had started having trouble walking and everything. So I've had my share of problems, but now I feel like a brand new man. I've been renewed. I had a new overhaul job, so I'm enjoying this facility out here. They let me exercise. They got a little pool hall over the next door where I can go and play pool with the guys in there. And tell you the truth, I feel like it's a family out here with me. I feel so comfortable.
You're about to mark your 87th birthday, and I saw online in doing some research that you had a happy 86th birthday message from one of your followers on YouTube. I'm just curious to know, what does it feel like to be almost 87?
Well, I don't know, I haven't made it to 87, but my mom lived to be 94, and I was born so long ago, it seemed like I'm being renewed right now. I'm so happy to be here. So when I wake up every morning, it's a blessing. And that's when I come out here to the center here, hey, it's just like family out here. I'm seeing people that I see every day and didn't realize it's a lot of people in here that might have a worse condition than I do. So I feel like I'm coming to a family to work out and play pool and enjoy myself for 2 hours and a half.
That's really cool. You talked a little bit about playing pool and staying active, and I know that part of your background also includes playing music and specifically the harmonica. And I saw that you played at a club maybe called 79th in Racine every Tuesday, and somebody called you a real gentleman and a badass harp player.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
That made me want to ask a little bit about your upbringing and your music. So you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, my music, I got my first harmonica in Humboldt, Tennessee, back in the backwoods. I say Humboldt, close to Humboldt, between Jackson, Tennessee and Humboldt, Tennessee, back in the woods. Scarborough Farm back there. So it was a man that came there to see my dad and gave me one of his harmonica. He was a great harmonica player. And I didn't know my dad played guitar, because when he got started raising his family, he never played guitar. I never seen my daddy play guitar. But this guy would come out to see him, and he gave me a harmonica at the age of 3.
3.
It didn't last long. I dropped it in an outdoors toilet. I didn't get another one until I was 8 years old.
So tell us about, your father played the guitar. Did he happen to play with any artists, maybe Sonny Boy Williamson?
Yes, he played with Sonny Boy. He was Sonny Boy Williamson, Rice Miller. There was 2 Sonny Boys. He played with the original, Rice Miller. Rice Miller was the original Sonny Boy. My father and him grew up together down there in Mississippi or somewhere down that way. But when he got married and everything, he stopped playing guitar and started raising kids. And it was 10 of us, 5 boys and 5 girls.
Wow.
So back then, during those days, they was raising kids to help work in the fields. And I'm one of them country boys that picked cotton and all that my family did. And he took us out of the country and carried us to the city in Jackson, Tennessee when I was 10 years old. So I was out there in that hot sun a long time before he got us out of them backwoods. But thank God he decided to get out of there.
So then, from working in the fields with your family, at some point you decided you wanted to move ahead and move on to a different life and to maybe have a career and move to the big city. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, my oldest brother, he moved to Chicago, and he called me and said, Larry, if you can make your way up here, he said, I might can get you on the job where I work. So I got with a guy that he lived in Gary, and he had an old raggedy car. So he said, well, he would come to Gary, and that's not too far from Chicago. He would drop me off. So, but he didn't have any money, and I had $22 when we left. So we got in Chicago. I had $2 left buying gas and all that. And he got me with my brother, and my brother's wife put me on the L transportation with her and carried me to the job that he was going to try to get me on. And I filled out an application and everything, and they hired me. They asked me when will I like to start working, and that was on a Thursday when they was talking to me. I told them I'd like to start that Monday so I would have a full check when I start working, and they said, okay, you can come in Monday, you're hired. So that's how I got to Chicago and started working. And I worked at Pioneer Paper Company. It was a paper company where they build up old cardboard and all that kind of stuff and unload trucks. So that's where I was when I first came to Chicago.
So, being in Chicago, did that expose you to a lot more music and help you pursue the blues and your love for harmonica playing?
Yeah, because I wasn't listening to any blues or music or nothing like that before I came to Chicago. I started listening to music because I was in that neighborhood where the music was, where all the big time blues players was there. Sonny Boy Williamson and his band, Muddy Waters Band, and all that. That's how I got into the music, because I would go down there and sit around the nightclub at night and listen to them. So one night they had some people come from Canada to listen to the music and everything of Muddy Water Band, and one of the amplifiers went out on the music, and the guy that was playing, he was the lead guitarist, and I didn't live too far from the club. I told him I had an amplifier, and I would go home and get it. So I went home and got it so he could finish that night off, and that was like on a Saturday night. And I came back that Monday to pick my amplifier up, and the amplifier was still on. And I told the lady that owned the club, I said, I let them use my amplifier. I said, they didn't cut it off. I don't know if it worked. I said, do you have a microphone? She said, yeah. Could I borrow your microphone and see if it works? She said, yeah. She brought me a microphone, and I plugged in. And then I grabbed my harmonica and started playing. She said, ooh, you play harmonica? She said, I never heard you play before. I said, no, I never played before. She said, well, you will from now on. She said, you do a lot better than some of these people in here. That's how I got started. She started me, the lady that owned the nightclub. And her name was Teresa at 48th and Indiana. And she told Muddy Water Band when he would go out town and play, when he would come in and his band would come down there and play, she told him to call him up and let him do a couple numbers. And that's how I started playing music.
Could you play us a little bit of blues?
Louise! She was the sweetest woman that I ever known. Ooh, I said, Louise. She's the sweetest little girl that I ever known. Well, I gotta love that woman all my life. I really want that woman to be my wife. Woo!
That was amazing.
Kind of hard to do anything like that when you don't have a band behind you and hearing the guitars and all that. Just doing it to you alone, doing the best I can without music.
We're going to have to get you with some other musicians to see what else we can record. That was beautiful. I want to ask you a question about different types of music. What is it about blues that drew you in?
Well, like I say, I was born back in the backwoods, and when I came to Chicago, the neighborhood that my brother was living in was a neighborhood that had nightclubs, and I went to one of the nightclubs that was around. It was Teresa's, where she had all the great players, Sonny Boy Williams, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and I would go there to listen to them. I could sit outside with the other guys that hung outside that didn't have to go inside, and we would drink our little drinks outside and listen to them. We even had the Rolling Stones, all of them come through. So I just that's what drew me into music. And one night I was walking down the street, and this one promoter saw me walking, and he had heard me play. They called me up at this nightclub to play. And he heard me play, and he stopped. He said, "Larry." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You got your harmonica?" I said, "Yeah, I got it." He said, "Come on, go with me." He's one of his great harmonica players supposed to play with him at Mount Sinai Hospital. And he wasn't there, and he picked me up off the street and carried me with him. He was doing a show at Mount Sinai Hospital, and he asked me to get up and do 3 numbers, and I did that. So that really got my foot into the door, because Willie Dixon, this guy worked for Willie Dixon, so Willie Dixon was a great promoter and all that, and he also had a school there at 76 in Racine. So, that kind of got me turned over into the music world, where if they see me, they were glad to call me up, because a lot of the good players that was out of town hadn't got back in town. They would call me up, and they know I didn't mind. I get up and do something free all the time. I just gave my talent away years ago. They wouldn't hire me. They just called me up and I do something. So I had fun with it, and it kind of wore off on me. So I enjoyed myself.
That is a fabulous story, and especially the fact that you were just kind of hanging out backstage, but then or outside, and got to experience not only the music and the beauty of the club, but you also got to make some really valuable connections in music. So tell us about the Blues Harmonica project.
I got a CD on that. That's where they chose, it was 6 of us, I think, yeah. And they had us to play 2 songs apiece. And out of the 6, 3 of us won a trip to England, and I was one of the 3. I did 2 numbers on that CD. It's called Diamond in the Rough, the CD is.
Very cool. So let's do a speed round of questions. What would you tell your younger self?
Yeah, well, tell my younger self I should have went on and finished school. That would be the first thing.
How do you stay positive despite the obstacles in life?
Well, I get up in the morning. When I first get up, I thank the Lord for giving me a chance to see another day. Then I ask Him to guide me and come what may. I don't have no plans. I just come here to the center and do what I do and enjoy the rest of my life. So I can't tell nobody else how to start out, but that's the way I start out.
Beautiful. I'm also curious, who would you have liked to perform with but have never gotten the chance?
Mr. Willie Dixon tried to get me to go with him to England, and I didn't go. I turned down a lot of gigs because I had just got a job, and I want to make sure that I take care of my family, because I didn't want to go over there and lose my job for not getting back in time and all that. So I turned down a lot of guys that wanted me to play with them. It's like I never really tried to reach the mindset of thinking that I was going to be a superstar. I was just doing it to make me feel good at the time.
Mm-hmm.
See?
That's great. That's called a hobby, right?
That's right.
If this conversation is motivating you to squeeze the day, learn more about getting involved in your home community, to deliver food, to volunteer, or to just get active. If you'd like to learn more, visit 54.org. That's FIFTYFORWARD.org. There's so much to gain by helping others. Now, let's get back to our show. Somebody told me that you saved the life of 2 young boys a long time ago, and I wanted you to tell us a little bit about that life-saving deed.
This was in Jackson, Tennessee. I was walking out the railroad. It was a gym in no railroad. And I was walking down the railroad, my brother now. He was 2 years younger than me, and I heard some screaming. And I told my brother, I said, I heard somebody drowning. And he said, I didn't hear nothing. So I started running over to the area, the white area where they own. I said, I'm going up in there because I knew it was a big man-made lake there, and guys would go over there and go swimming because I had rescued another young black guy out of that same pool. So when I ran over there, I saw this one kid sitting on the bank of the pond. He was 5 years old, little white boy, and he was just hollering and screaming. And I looked out in the middle of that lake, and it had a big truck inner tube floating. Then all at once I see a body come up, and this little hand was lifting the body up over his head, holding his brother up. His brother was 7 and he was 9. The 9-year-old could swim a little bit, but he had wore himself out trying to save his brother. Because the inner tube, see, when the inner tube slip out from under you in the water, it kicks out away from you. And that's what had happened. He couldn't get the inner tube back to him. So I jumped in the water and swam to the kid that went down, so where I saw him go down, and had my brother run around on the other side and get the inner tube and swim toward me, and that's how I got them out. But the 7-year-old, he was full of water. I was able to pump the water out of him because I had went out for Boy Scout and I knew how to do that. And when I got him all revived and everything, he said, his 9-year-old brother grabbed him by the hand and grabbed the inner tube and said, ran off, said, let's not tell Mom and Daddy. That's the last thing I heard him say. And I never saw him again. I told this story on the Bill Wade show down here in Jackson.
Oh.
You remember the Bill Wade show?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Absolutely.
Well, he interviewed me, and I told him that story, and also the story about Sonny Boy Wilson, which one was the original.
Well, thank you for sharing that story. It's so interesting, and it's amazing to me how skills such as scouting and swimming skills can pay dividends in life. And I think that's an amazing and heroic story that you're sharing. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I know today you spend a lot of time at 54 Donaldson Station here at the center. What do you enjoy most here and why?
Well, I enjoy playing pool with the guys in the pool. You got a pool room there, and I enjoy playing pool with them. But I do go in the recreation facility and do a little bicycle pedaling and all that for my legs, you know. So I love it here because I love the personality of the people that I see. They always got a smile and seem like everybody just is just happy-go-lucky, you know.
That's wonderful. And the fact that you're playing pool, I think at one point you might have referenced that you started playing pool at a very young age. And
I started at 13 years old.
13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, did you become a hustler?
Yes, I did. I played in pool tournaments down there with the great Efren Reyes and all them guys. I did the national anthem down there in Louisville, Kentucky for them with the harmonica. They hadn't had anyone to do the national anthem like that. And they called me and said, Larry, come down here. And I went down and he said, we want you to plug us in on the national anthem. So I did the national anthem on harmonica, with the harmonica.
I bet that was an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, because the people didn't know what he was calling me down there for. But when I pulled the harmonica out and did it, they loved it. They talked about that for years.
That's so cool. Well, I want to talk a little bit about our agency, 54, being a senior-focused agency and with centers across Middle Tennessee. One of our agency values is focused on being an inclusive community to offer safe places for every adult. How does that statement resonate with you?
Yeah, it seemed like it is a safe place. That's why I fell in love with this place. It's not too far from where I live, and my son brought me over here, and I really appreciate meeting the guy that he introduced me to, and he plugged me in and signed me in, and I joined, and I've been here ever since. I think it's a wonderful place. I think they have all these different activities and different people doing different things, and it's just wonderful to see people as old as I am and older, and they still coming out. I see one person drive here, and she can't hardly walk, but she still drive here. So it's a very, very wonderful place. It really, really got me all motivated for coming out of the house. Because when you get a certain age and feel like you're checking out, you don't have much to do. You just lay around and do nothing. But once I start coming here, I can't hardly wait to get up in the morning to get out of the house to come here. Just looking at different people just makes me feel good all over.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Interaction is so good. And I love to hear not only that you're playing pool, but you're also in there getting some exercise on a bike.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've got a couple questions we ask every one of our guests just because I think it's interesting to see how the responses vary. What's one piece of advice your parents or an older adult shared with you that at the time you might have thought was silly, but now it rings true in your everyday life?
Well, I know they said do unto others as you would love them to do unto you. The golden rules, I was taught that, and don't misuse anyone. If you do hurt someone feeling, then you can go back and apologize and ask for forgiveness. But make sure you keep Jesus Christ, because I accept Christ when I was 12 years old. So I'm good with that. Anytime I think I did something stupid, I'll go back and talk to him, and then I feel much better about myself. So if you do something wrong, make a mistake, ask for forgiveness, and you can get yourself back on the right track.
That's great advice. And I'm curious to know what it is that you do to squeeze the day.
Well, my day starts out. First thing I do is like I say, I thank the Lord for waking me up and all that. And the next thing I do, I reach for my harmonica and put it in my pocket. This harmonica has really saved me all my life. When I was shining shoes as a little boy in Jackson, Tennessee, I used to shine the shoes and play the harmonica and pop in the rag, and that got me tips. So I try to keep me one of these in my pocket. This is just like part of my life, this harmonica. And I love it, and I thank God for Sonny Boy Williamson giving me one, even though I never had a chance to really play it professional. But Lee Oscar harmonica is some of the greatest harmonicas is. And I buy mine from Lee Oscar, and I get a discount. So I just thank the Lord that I learned how to play it the way I play it to relax me, because I can't play it for nobody else. I just play it to relax myself. And it's definitely has relaxed me out of all these years, a good 75, 80 years, just messing around with it. So I thank the Lord for that, and thank you all for wanting to know about it.
I want to thank you for joining us today, Larry. We're grateful you shared your story with us. It certainly is music to our ears. And for all of you listening to this podcast today, as I leave you, I'm sending you a big squeeze. Until next time. Squeeze the Day is made possible through listeners like you. If you enjoy this podcast, please help us continue to share inspiring stories of older adults and visit 54.org. That's FIFTYFORWARD.org to make a contribution. And now I challenge everyone listening to go squeeze the day.
Father, I thank you. Lord knows, I thank you for this day. Father, I thank you, I thank you. Father, I thank you. Father, I thank you. I thank you for this day. Well, I thank you, Father. I can have it no other way. Now, Father, when I walk, I want you to walk with me. Father, when I talk, you talk through me. Oh, Lord, Father. You know I can't do this here by myself. Help me now, Father. I can't turn to no one else. Woo! Lord have mercy.